Hey guys, how are you? It's Javi, your favorite realtor, Javier Hurtado Realty. I wanted to make you guys this video because I've been getting a lot of sellers coming to me and asking me what are the pros and cons of downsizing? Should I downsize now? And how would you recommend downsizing? So we're gonna pick this apart piece by piece. And I think right now the thing we'll first start with is the interest rates right now. So last week I quoted you guys 7.8, even in the eights sometimes. Right now, the interest rates have dropped down to 7.5, 7.25 without paying any points. My lenders have told me. And my lenders also told me some inside scoop is next year there's new down payment assistance programs coming in into effect, and there's stackable down payment assistance programs. So we'll keep you guys posted on all that. So if you are a first time buyer or you are a seller that wants to downsize, and maybe you want to use some of that equity you've built from your primary home and not pay off the whole home, you want to use down payment assistance programs or whatever it may be, maybe this could apply to you. But most likely, this is just for first time home buyers, okay? Now, you're a seller, you're thinking about downsizing. You don't need, you want to know the pros and cons. You don't know like everything before you start the process of even downsizing, even if it's if it's a good choice for you. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to downsize because your family still lives at home. But one pro of downsizing, actually, for the sellers out there, it often leads to a lower monthly mortgage or essentially no monthly mortgage. You lower your housing costs. A bigger home leads to more expenses. And when you move from a bigger home to a smaller home, and a home that more fits your needs, like say, for example, it's a one floor living home, um, it's more accessible for you, and essentially it reduces your monthly cost, your electric, your gas, everything is lower when you reduce the square footage of it. And on top of that, the taxes, if you buy a smaller piece of land, depending on what town you go to, of course, if it's a smaller piece of land, your property taxes get lower. You have reduced maintenance. Smaller homes usually require less maintenance, saving you time and money on repairs. So if you had to do a roof on a bigger home versus a smaller home, to just give you a quick immediate answer, you're looking at, for a large home, let's say a 4,000 square foot home, you're looking at a 25 to 30K roof. On a 2,200 square foot home, maybe even an 1,800 square foot home, um, think, thinking the layouts are mostly spread out, the roofing would probably be around 15, $18,000. So that's pretty much cut in half. Now, the environmental impact. I'm stuttering over my words, guys. Smaller homes usually have more energy efficient, which can again lower your utility bills and reduce your carbon footprint. So, I mean, it's logically thinking here. Smaller home equals less energy wasted, unless you are a tech guru and your whole home is running on purely electrical things and you have all the things running all the time. I don't think I can assume that you're going to use less utilities in the new home, the smaller downsized home. And extra equity. What does that mean? When you sell your larger home and you have built up equity, you put that extra equity, all that equity you've built up when you sell your home and you move to the smaller home, you're going to have all that extra money to play with. What does that mean? Say your home sells for 600, 700,000. You want to buy a $300,000, $400,000 home, and your taxes and everything, all that stuff. Let's say in a perfect world, you have the full 700,000 from your sale. You buy a $400,000 home, you pay it all cash, for example, and you have that extra 300,000 to invest how so you ever may seem fit. And if you're smart enough to do this, you'll use loan programs so that you can put the minimum down payment amount into different types of investment properties. You can use all that investment money into different times. Like let's say, for example, you have 300,000 and you invest 20% down on a couple different types of investment properties. You're one building rental income off of all those. It's going to be less money coming in because you didn't pay off the full mortgage. So you're going to put some money towards a mortgage, and then some money is going to come back to you. But you're building equity in all of these properties. It's a very smart thing to do because equity is the real money here. Rental income, that's great, but the equity, that's the money. Now, the cons of downsizing. I think we'll talk about the most obvious one. You're going to have less space. Downsizing means you're going to have less living space, which can be challenging if you're accustomed to a larger home. But if you're coming from a larger home, you don't want that much space. It's not really a con, it's probably a benefit for you. Storage issues. Smaller homes usually have limited storage space, which can require some decluttering and creative organization. Now, I've debunked this with a lot of my clients. We've installed a shed in the backyard that can, it's a either a in-law shed or it's a Home Depot store-bought shed that you can just pretty much store a lot of your things in there. So if you need to store a lot of things, you can put it in the back shed, put it in the basement, but it will require storage issues if you're used to a lot of storage in your current home. Entertaining space. Guys, you're not going to have that much entertainment space if you're downsizing from a large home to a smaller home. It might require you to be very creative with your entertaining, maybe a nice backyard to entertain during the day versus you had a big, I don't know, a big finished basement, which you could still have in a small home, but it's more common in very large homes. And the adjustment period. Guys, the transition from a large home to a smaller home, it, it's going to be a transition. It's going to affect you because you're used to having a big space, walking around that big house, doing different things. You're going to have a smaller home. It's going to be smaller, and it's not going to be that much. You're gonna have a very confined, cozy space. I don't want to say uncomfortable. It is not uncomfortable. It's going to be cozy. So you're going to realize you didn't need that much stuff to begin with. And now the privacy. Usually with smaller homes, unless you're buying in the country, you're going to have very close neighbors to you. You're going to have less privacy unless you have a bunch of trees around you and a big fence and all that fun stuff. You're usually more often than not going to have less privacy in the aspect of like your backyard, things like that. It's going to be very close neighbors unless you, of course, you're moving to like a country space. Now, those are the pros and cons, guys. Should you do this at this time? That's a very difficult question to answer because I'll tell you why. It it relates back to your current situation. And what does that mean? Is it a good time to buy and sell? Yes and no. It depends on you. If it's right for you, if you have too much space and you don't have any need for a large home, you want to move to a smaller home because it's comfortable for you and you're in a good financial being and you can actually use a lot of the equity to buy your next home, then I think it would be a good idea. It would be great. And it would save you a bunch of time and energy. It will be more efficient for you. You'll save a lot of money because it'll be a smaller living space. And ideally speaking, if you work with me when you buy the next home, you're also going to have you know it's going to be a perfect dream home for you. The downsizing. And mind you, if you do decide to sell with me and then you use me as your agent to buy, I will give you a special incentive. Just remind me I brought it up here. It's a special incentive. I will give you 25, well, up to 25% back on my buyer's agent commission to you guys because you trusted me to sell your home, and I want to make sure I do the best for you. So when you buy the home with me as well, I will give you 25% back commission, up to, of the buyer's agent commission. It'll help you with your closing costs and your prepaids, all that fun stuff, so you don't have to come too much out of pocket with that. Now, back to the topic. Why does it not make sense? Why does it not make sense to downsize? You still have family at home. Where are you going to stuff everybody if everybody's at home still? You're not in a good financial well-being. It might not make sense because let's say your home is in foreclosure status and you don't have credit and you have equity built up. You could downsize, and that makes sense for that part. But if you cannot keep up with those payments when you downsize, it's not going to change the situation. So it would prolong it a little bit, but it will not change the situation because obviously if you can't keep up with the payments, it's going to be a cycle, a vicious cycle. So we can work together and figure things out for you in that aspect, and see how to best prepare you if that situation does arise for you. But potentially, and hopefully, it will not happen for you. So I guess that's it, guys. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. But this is my weekly update, Javier Hurtado Realty, Javier the Realtor. And I hope this brought you value. At least you learned some stuff. Let me know if you need anything else, and I will catch you guys next week.